deceive the teddy bear are here to play. If you don't come play with us.
Welcome to Frightened Female. This is Crystal. Today's scary story was written in by Kate. Thank you so much for submitting your story. As much as we love technology and our phones and the internet, there is a dark side to it, and this story left me completely puzzled, so I would definitely like to see your guys' opinion, what you think happened in the comment field below. But with that, let's begin. This happened to me about 1.5 years ago. I was just turning 30 years old and had been single for quite some time. I was working 2 jobs, one as a busser at a restaurant and the other as a teller at the bank. And due to my busy schedule, it was taking my social life away, and it was becoming more and more difficult to meet someone new. All of my friends had relationships, and I always felt left out when we did stuff together. So one night, while surfing the late-night TV channels, I came across one of those online dating commercials, and I've always told myself that I would never sign up for one of those things. But at this point, what did I have to lose? I was willing to give it a shot, so I got on my laptop, and I went to the website, one that was very popular, but I won't mention, to build my profile. So it took quite some time because it asked me a lot of questions, but I figured the more that I answered, the better the matches were going to be. I was surprised the next day when I logged back in to see how many guys they actually found for me. No one from the first round of them stood out, but I knew there would be others. So I went to work that day, and when I came home at lunchtime, I logged back on, and I had 6 more matches. This time, someone caught my eye. His name was James, and he seemed really cool. His profile said that he loves the outdoors, has 2 German shepherds, which I loved, and he was into traveling, same as me. His pictures were nice, and I liked how they showed him doing fun things like fishing and hiking. He was 1 year younger than me, but I didn't mind. He lived in a neighboring town about 15 minutes from where I lived, so that wasn't bad at all. So I thought I'd drop him a message. What the heck? I said, "Hi, I'm Kate. I saw your profile and I really liked your pictures. You came up as a match for me, so I thought I'd write you just to introduce myself. If you want to chat, that'd be cool." And I left it at that. So I spent the rest of my workday wondering if he'd replied. I had kind of forgotten what it was like to have little butterflies in my stomach again. Anyways, after the bank, I rushed home to get ready for my dinner shift at the restaurant. But I took a second just to log in the dating site really quick to see if James had responded. And he did. He said, "Thanks for writing me. I like your profile too. I'd love to chat with you anytime. You can also text me if you want." And then he gave me his number. And I thought to myself, whoa, isn't it a little soon to be throwing out phone numbers? But maybe that's what people do on these online dating sites. I didn't know. I'd never done this before. So I did end up programming his number into my phone, and I headed to work. So my shift ended at 10 p.m., and I was meeting up with my good friend Monica and her fiancé Robert for drinks afterwards, since I had the day off the next day. I showed the profile of James to her once we were all inside the cantina. She said, "I like him. You should definitely hook up on a date." I said, "Nah, I'm not going to rush anything. I really just want to get to know him first." See, I'd been burnt so much in the past, I was going to take my time with this one. Well, after a few drinks and a little dancing, I dug into my purse for the old cell phone, and I did what I probably shouldn't have. I texted James. I guess it was the margaritas making me do it. I said, "Hey James, it's Kate, what's up?" After I hit the send button, he said, "Oh crap, it's like 1 a.m. He's gonna think I'm a crazy person for texting him at this hour." But to my surprise, he messaged me right back. "Hey Kate, wasn't sure if you'd text me or not. Geez, you're up at this time?" So I texted back, "Yeah, hanging out with my friends. Thought I'd say hi." He told me that he'd text me tomorrow after he got home from work. We'll talk more. So I told him, okay, good night. Talk to you later. I felt all giddy again. We had a great rest of the night. Robert drove me home. He didn't drink, and I thanked him for that. Once inside, I got back on my computer to see if James had written me anything. And he did. He wished me sweet dreams with a smiley face and a bunch of Z's. It was cute. I had a feeling that I was really going to like this guy. And I was right. I did like him a lot. So for the next 2 weeks, we texted nonstop back and forth. I learned so much about him. He was born in Washington, D.C. He worked full-time as an electrician. He had a twin sister that moved to Canada. He owned a Camaro and a dirt bike. Most of all, he made me laugh, and that was really important. The text messages progressed to hour-long phone calls, and I was getting more and more used to hearing his voice. He mentioned wanting to meet up with me several times, but work was making it nearly impossible. I'd literally have to quit my restaurant job if I was going to maintain any kind of relationship. I used that job as extra money anyways, so I put in a week's notice and left the restaurant. The next Saturday morning, I got a text from James right after I woke up. It said, "So when are we going to see each other? How about tonight? I know an awesome Italian place." So I hesitated for a minute, and I told myself, "Kate, you signed up for this. You really like him. You're going to have to meet up with him sooner or later." I wrote back, "Sure, that sounds like fun. What time do you want to meet up?" So I poured myself some coffee, waiting for his reply. "That's the problem," he said. "My car's in the shop overnight. Remember I told you that yesterday? Bo is going to give me rides." I said, "Oh yeah, the whole break thing. I could pick you up, I guess." So I wanted our first date arrival to be in a public place, but I felt pretty comfortable about James, and I didn't mind the drive to go get him. "Could you really?" he said. "That's sweet of you. I can't wait. How about 7 o'clock? So I agreed and got his address and printed out the driving directions. I couldn't believe we were finally meeting up. So I had to go out and get a new outfit. So after breakfast, I went to my favorite clothing store and picked up a new top and jeans for the night. I didn't want to get too dressy, something nice but casual. I was getting more and more nervous as each hour passed. I got ready a little early while texting back and forth with James all the while. He just kept saying, "Can't wait to see you." I kept wondering things in my mind like, is he going to get me flowers? What if I don't like him in person? What if he didn't like me in person? I was definitely overanalyzing things. But worst case scenario, neither of us are forced into a second date if it ends up going bad. Well, 5 minutes before leaving the house, James called me and asked that I drive safe and that he'd be waiting for my car. And I was off. I had pretty much remembered the directions since I had read them a million times over. The sun was beginning to set and the traffic was light. I was getting more and more nervous as I passed the bridge that he told me to cross over before making a right onto his road. He said that he lived in a bright blue house with a gravel driveway and a chain-link fence. I spotted it right away, and I slowed down to park in front, leaving the engine running. He said he was going to be watching for my car, but just sitting there was kind of tacky. I didn't see a lot of movement through the windows, just a tiny lamp that was in the front room. I thought, I'd better go knock. Maybe he doesn't see me. So I got out, straightened my blouse, and headed toward the front door. I was so nervous, it was almost making me dizzy, but I was okay. Here goes nothing, I thought. So I knocked on the storm door. I waited to hear footsteps right away, but I didn't. Maybe I'd try ringing the doorbell. That did the trick. I heard him approaching, and then the door slowly cracked open. Through the dark screen, I saw an elderly woman peeking back at me. She carried a huge frown on her face and looked rather upset that I had rang the doorbell. "What do you need?" she said. I said, "Hi, I'm Kate. I'm here to pick up James." The lady cracked open the door a little more. She just stared at me. "Is he home?" I asked. "James is my grandson," she frowned. What business do you have with my grandson? Who are you? I paused in confusion. James and I met online and we're going out for dinner tonight. He asked me to pick him up. The lady again took a long pause. Then she said something that made my stomach drop. That won't be happening tonight, I'm afraid. James died last summer in a head-on crash with 2 others. What's going on here? I thought, this can't be real. Ma'am, I just talked to him on the phone 20 minutes ago. We've been talking for weeks. She sharply interrupted me. Show me how you know him. Show me, she demanded. So I nervously took out my phone and logged on to the dating website. My whole body was shaking, and the awkward silence didn't help the situation. I pulled up his profile pic and put the phone up to the screen door to show her. The old woman cupped her mouth, and she began weeping while nodding her head. Yes. That's my grandson. Jamie boy, she cried. She kept saying, Jamie boy, my little Jamie boy. I began feeling really sad for her. Then she quickly snapped. Get the hell away from my house. Get the hell off my porch. Go! She violently slammed the door. I hustled to my car, started it up, and took off down the road. I was in such a state of confusion. Once I was out of the house's sight, I parked and I grabbed my phone to call this James number I had. And it rang and rang and rang. No answer, no voicemail either. What the hell is going on here? I sped out of there probably faster than I should have, but the whole situation was making me uneasy. One good thing, and thank God for it, I didn't give this guy my address. So I made it back home. I turned the car off and just sat there a moment. I didn't know whether to be angry or scared, but I knew I was confused. So I walked up to my front door, and just as I turned the key, I felt the phone vibrate in my back pocket. I had gotten a text. So I set my purse and keys down and quickly opened my messages. The text was from James. What I read had me petrified. He said, I see you met my grandma. That's sweet. I quickly wrote back, who the hell is this? What kind of sick joke is this, you son of a bitch? He wrote back about a minute later. I miss my grandma. Too bad cancer had to take her life. Who the hell are you? Quit talking to me. And then my phone went silent. No texts, no phone calls for the rest of the night. So first the old woman says that James was dead, and this person claiming to be James knew I was at that house and said that the woman I spoke to had died. I was so freaked out of my mind. Being alone in my tiny house didn't help either. So I quickly opened my computer to log on to the dating site and was shocked to see that this James guy had taken his profile down. Well, I quickly erased his number from my phone. I didn't own a gun. The closest thing I had was a novelty sword that my brother had given me from a trip to Japan. I'd probably just sleep with a kitchen knife. I could have stayed the night at Monica and Robert's house, but they were out of town for the weekend for a family wedding. Perfect timing, I thought. But I'd be okay. Just make sure all the doors and windows were secure. This creep didn't know where I lived anyways. So I took a deep breath and made myself something to eat. Afterwards, I'd lied down in the bed and turned on the TV. Anything to distract me from the evening's event. It took a while, but I finally drifted off to sleep. Hours later, after 1:00 p.m., I was awoken by my phone. I had received a text message, and it was from the same area code of the number of his that I had just deleted, James's number. So I opened my messages nervously, and it said, Kate, you forgot to turn on your backyard porch light. Fear consumed me as I clenched the knife from under my pillow while dialing 911 with the other hand. Oh my God, this guy knows where I live. He could be in the backyard. I was scared to even peek out. I sat in a huddled ball in my closet until policemen knocked on the door. There were 2 of them, and I explained my story from start to finish, and I showed them the text message that I had just got. I had no pictures to show them from this James's profile since it was deleted. All I had was the number. So the taller police officer took the number down and told me to wait while he went out to his cruiser to scan the phone number for a possible trace, while the other cop did a patrol of the exterior of my home. Just when I thought that things couldn't get any scarier, the policeman came back in the house and told me that the number I gave him wasn't even registered in the database. I couldn't believe it. So they took their own issued telephone and attempted to dial the number themselves. And all they got was a machine recording saying, "Your call cannot be completed as dialed. Please check the number and dial again." Wow, Kate. I did email you back wanting to know the conclusion of the story because that one kind of left me hanging. I wrote you back and I'd asked, did you stay at home that night? Did you find another friend to stay with? So if you could write me back and I can add an update to the video, that would be awesome. Again, you guys, in the comment field, was it a person texting her? Do we have some paranormal things going on here? I have a couple conclusions in my mind, but yeah, that one left me hanging. So if we can find out what happened at the end, Kate, I'd sure appreciate it. But thank you for submitting your story. If you have a true scary story of your own that you would like to submit, please see the description box below on how to do so. Thanks for listening, guys. Please like and subscribe to this video. Leave a comment. Most importantly, please be safe. Be aware of your surroundings, and remember to always lock your door. Scare you later.